Okay. Hello, everybody. Sorry, I know you hate lessons like this, but that's just the way it happens sometimes. So, yesterday we discussed in more detail about critique, what it is and what it isn't. Okay. Critique is about identifying how the author made their point and why they used that thing or that style or strategy to make their point. Okay. We started out by discussing what you were supposed to do with this activity from Tuesday when I also wasn't here. And we discussed how some of you wrote out and identified the author's claim versus writing a critique claim. So to help with that, I did want to point out some good claims here. So here are some claims. The first one says, these are critique claims. These are students' claims about the article. It is not the author's claim. The first one says, the consistent reinterpretations of the classic Mother Goose tales prove the idea that our modern concept of fairy tale romance has never been realistic by illuminating the details that have been discarded over time. So clearly this first critique claim is going to look at the specific details and how the author highlights these details that have been misinterpreted or changed over time, and how those changes have resulted in the misinterpretation of fairy tale romance. Okay. Next one, Ornstein's fairy tales and adjusted reality discredits true love with juxtapositions and historical accounts of fairy tales by implying that through time fairy tales have developed into giving readers deceitful depictions of love that glorify marriage, which is supported by new reality TV shows. Okay, so this claim, I would expect in the critique paragraph to find, they can point out juxtapositions. This versus this, this versus this. These elements that contradict and contrast one another. And as well as looking at these historical accounts. Now, all of these work together to imply the claim. Okay, how it's not overtly stated, but it's a subtle inferencing that the reader has to do to get to the point by looking at the juxtapositions and historical accounts. Fairy tale, so third one, Fairy Tales and a Dose of Reality by Catherine Ornstein argues that fairy tale love has never been achieved by creating a timeline to describe the ways in which fairy tales have depicted love throughout time. So I expect this critique paragraph to look at the timeline of fairy tales and how, as time has progressed, fairy tale love has been depicted differently. And they would look at the evolution of this definition of love in a timeline format. Okay, and finally, the last one says, Catherine Ornstein intentionally deliberates on the duality of fairy tales by comparing the ways that classic and contemporary media perpetuate different meanings through the same stories. Ornstein analyzes reality versus fantasy by providing a distinct contrast between the fairy tales as we know them and their original forms. So this person kind of did a double sentence here, but both say the same thing. They're going to be comparing and contrasting contemporary media and the original formats. Okay, so notice all things I've highlighted, but I've made bold are their critique elements. They've chosen a very specific element, a very specific thing that the author did, and then their critique paragraphs will be looking at how that thing helps the author to prove their point. So I discussed yesterday what critique is. The whole idea is for you to, looking at the text and doing a specific type of analysis, which is critique, is a specific type of analysis, in order to show your thoughts about how the author gets their point across. Okay. We discussed that when you write a summary, that's looking at what the author says. When you write a critique, that's looking at how the author said it and why they did that, why they said it in that way. We then reviewed what microtheme 2 will look like. What I am asking for you today is you will do a critique claim and a critique paragraph. You will not do the summary portion, okay? So what's going to happen, I just showed you 4 sample critique claims. You will write a critique claim, and then you will write a critique paragraph that proves that claim. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Okay. So if I were to use my sample that I showed you from yesterday. Let's see if I can do that real quick. Sorry, give me one moment. Trying to find the best way to go about this. This isn't the best, but we're gonna do it this way. Modules. So if I were to go, okay, your assignment will be, it says practice critique paragraph. It's right here. It'll be actually published tomorrow. It's not published right now, but it will be published for you. You're going to post it there. What I want from you, okay, is you would not do this part. All I would want from you is what I'm highlighting right now. The critique claim itself, which is just this sentence. That's my critique claim. And then my critique paragraph. That's what I want from you. I do not want the summary up top. We've already done analytical summaries. I don't want you to practice that again. I want you to write a critique claim and then write a critique paragraph. So put the first sentence by itself, put this paragraph all together, and that's what you're turning in, okay? Once you do that, okay, once you do that, you will then, let me get back up here, I apologize. In the assignment, you'll be assigned a peer, okay? You'll see that this currently has last year's class. I will go through and I will put, it'll say assigned partners, and I'll have your name and I'll have the person that you need to partner up with, okay? You will give feedback, okay, on the element they critiqued. Did they hone in on a specific element? And did they look at why the element helped the author prove their point? Okay, so did they give a critique claim? They identified an element. Did they go through and discuss that element and what the element was and what and how it was done? And then did they discuss why the element was so important to the author proving their point? Okay, so again, there's two parts. You'll first write, give me your critique claim, and then write a critique paragraph. You will then submit it to the discussion board. After you do that, you'll give feedback to a peer. Okay? That feedback, you'll be assigned a very specific peer, and I will have it listed right here. Again, this is last year's class, but I will have your class listed here. You'll then provide feedback to that person before you come to class on Friday. Your feedback should be good feedback. Your feedback should be something that's helpful. Your feedback should give them some guidance as to what they are doing well and where they might still need to do work. Okay? So, be good students. Don't dilly-dally, don't slack. Use your time wisely right now in class. I should be seeing these posted and feedback starting to occur before you leave my room. Do not save this for homework. Do not save this for the last minute. Get it done now. If you have any questions, please email me. Otherwise, I'll see you on Friday. Okay? As a reminder, Friday we will start Microtheme 2, so you need to have this done before then. I will see you later.